Okay, I'm going to start off with the name here. McKaylin Warner. McKaylin Warner. I owe her a debt of thanks, a thank you. She introduced me to a young man, 18 years old, William Harvell. Very interesting interview. He hails from Mooresville, North Carolina. I guess you could say by way of Alabama. Anyway, here's his interview. When was the first time, let me ask you this, when was the first time you ever came in contact with a police officer that you can remember?
So I know that I've met a police officer when I was younger, like most young kids, but I think like my first run-in, like when I'm older.
Why is it always a run-in? Everybody says
I got stopped. Me and my buddy were hanging out in a field, and a few cop cars pulled in and lit us up because they didn't recognize us.
Yeah.
The trucks on the property. We had permission to be on the property, so it wasn't a big deal. But they were just checking out, like, hey, we see two trucks here, and we don't recognize them being here, so we're just gonna make sure they're not doing anything they're not supposed to be doing. Other than that, probably just getting pulled over.
And so, but it wasn't a bad encounter.
No.
Though. Yeah.
No, they were good. They were respectful. They pulled in. There's three of them that pulled in.
Yeah.
Two of them stayed in their cars, and one of them got out, walked up to us, said it was late at night. It was about 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
10 o'clock maybe, and he walked in up to the truck. We was both sitting in the same truck, and he walked up. He was like, "Hey guys, just checking in. Wanted to see what you guys are doing here. We don't recognize the trucks on the property. Do you guys have permission? What are y'all doing? Stuff like that." And I told him from the passenger seat, I was like, "Yes, sir, we have permission. I know so-and-so who runs and owns the property. He gave us permission to come out here because in the bed of my truck and the bed of my buddy's truck, we had two mini bikes and a four-wheeler because it was like a 6-7 acre field.
Yeah.
And so we were riding around the field just having fun.
Yeah. Have you ever had any friends that were interested in police work? I'm curious
I've
about that.
had two friends who are officers.
Really? How old are they, or roughly?
One of them, I have no idea.
Okay.
I met him when I was 15. He was already a police officer at that point. I believe he was a sergeant.
Okay.
I believe he was part of the SWAT force that was in the area. He was a good guy. He was, I don't know, he met me, I would say about 14, 15.
Wait a minute, what part of, was that in North Carolina?
Alabama.
Oh, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So he met me, he told me, we weren't like super close friends, but he had a nickname for me. He called me PK. Okay. And he'd be like, "What's up, PK?" And I was like, "How you doing?"
Yeah, but he left you with a good impression.
Yeah, he gave me a good impression. I saw him, last time I saw him, I didn't see him for a few years, and then I saw him at a voting booth when I went for the first time to vote this past election. Yeah. And he was running security at the voting booth.
Oh, wow.
And I walked in, it had been like 2 years since I seen him, and he recognized me right away. He's like, "How you doing, PK?"
I'll tell you what, if you had remembered his name, we'd have given him a shout out so that when you do see him, you can tell him, hey, you mentioned him. Yeah. And then you got another friend that
I had a friend I worked with for probably 3 or 4 months, and he was interested in the military, but he couldn't pass the ASVAB. Okay. But he got hired on as at the police station there as an officer, and then I believe he was there for like 2 or 3 months, and then ended up passing the ASVAB for the military after like trying it for like the second or third time.
Talk about karma.
And so they were like, yeah, go to the military. So now he's, I believe, in the Army. Okay. So he was a police officer like a few months. I don't even think he was out of training yet. And,
he can always come back to it. Yeah. He sounds like he's young enough.
Yeah, he's young. He was probably early 20s. Okay. So but that was the only two friends I have in the police force.
Why do you think, let me ask you this, William, do you think that there is when I was growing up, there were a lot of people that wanted to be cops, but do you see that now? No. In your generation? I
don't think so.
Why do you think that is?
I think one thing is they don't know how much they get paid.
Yeah.
Another thing is I think of all the younger kids, like my age, I say kids, young adults. Yeah. they grow up and they're trying to be cool and impress everybody, and so they don't want to become a cop and feel like, you know, hey, I got to enforce the rules now when I grew up breaking them all.
And then they're going to also be ostracized from their friends and all that. Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing with it, is just the friend groups they're around and the mentality of it.
You know, you mentioned, this is the inside joke for the viewers. Before we even got on camera, I asked you, what do you think police officers make? And what did you say?
I said probably 30.
Yeah, probably 30. And I said, well, how about if I told you, and I'm sure it's not just in Texas. I said, well, what if I told you about 78? You know, we start you out at about between 68 and 78,000. That caused you to sit back and think about that, didn't it?
Yeah, I didn't expect them to make that much. I thought maybe like starting out, maybe at highest probably 50,000.
Yeah,
because you don't really think they make that much, honestly.
Yeah. And I think that if a lot of people took a look, when you think about economics and how you have to make it out here, I think it's something, you know, good to think about. Well, at least I can start out at a good rate. Or what do you think are good characteristics to have as a police officer? Because you're a young adult, you're a citizen. What would you expect would be a good characteristic for police officers?
Probably just understanding.
Okay.
Like down to earth.
Okay.
So I mean, I've had a run-in with, like, I've been pulled over several times.
Yeah. For speeding.
For speeding, for other things.
Okay.
But I've been pulled over twice, as far as I know, like actually driving, just getting pulled over.
Yeah.
One of them was pretty understanding. Like, he had just worked a double. He was about to get off. He pulled me over. It was like 5:30 in the morning. I was 16. He pulled me over. He's like, hey, flashlight, because it's super dark out. He was just understanding. He asked me, you know, where am I going at this time? You know, he asked me my age once he saw my license. I told him. He's like, why aren't you going to school? I told him, hey, I'm going to work. I'm homeschooled. And he asked me if I knew why he pulled me over. I was like, I have no idea. Because I had just pulled out of my house. Like I said, it's 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And so I was tired, still groggy. But he reached in right there on my dashboard and flipped on my lights. He said, you had your low beams on, but not your driving lights, basically. I just had the small lights on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so he told me, he's like, that's all I pulled you over for. And I thought it was something, you know, else, and I didn't know what it was. And he's like, I'm not going to write you. He's like, I know you're tired. I can tell. He's like, it's not a big deal. He was a super understanding guy. But
that left you with a good impression, though, didn't it?
Yeah, someone who's understanding. I mean, if you're breaking the law, obviously, like, you know, speeding, selling drugs, something like that, obviously there needs to be a limitation, you know, of understanding. But I think there's a cause for everything. Like, if I'm just being reckless, obviously cite me. But if I'm, you know, per se speeding on the way to the hospital or something, I got someone injured in my car. I think understanding comes into play there. Like, okay, I see the reason he's speeding. I'm not going to cite him, but I'm going to take him to the hospital so we can get there even faster now.
Absolutely. So, that's good discretion, then.
Yeah, good discretion. Just being a down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
Not on a power trip, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and, you know, I have worked with officers. I've worked with some that were really great at communicating with people. They weren't on, quote, the power trip. But then I've worked with others that were. And it was my opinion, and still is, that, you know, we got people that shouldn't be police officers. And those are the people that come into contact with people like you and I, you know, the citizens.
They give us the bad impression.
Yeah, they give you the bad impression. And then you talked about being down to earth and being empathetic. You know, showing some empathy for people when they get out here and they, you know, they end up dealing with them. What do you think when you see use of force news, when it comes across the news that this person was beat up on the body cam or that person was beat, what does that leave you with the impression of the police?
It's a bad impression. I mean, obviously there's bad cops, good cops. I mean, like you just said, you've worked with people who are good cops, and you've worked with people who are bad cops that probably shouldn't be a cop. But, I mean, at the end of the day, what you choose to show the people is what the people are going to think. So I think, you know, like you said, what they show as an officer doing, if it's something bad, it's going to leave the whole country with a bad impression.
Absolutely.
So I think that media could help them out and, you know, not show all the bad stuff, you know? I mean, obviously there's bad stuff happening. It needs to be handled and dealt with, but you don't have to just only show the bad stuff.
Well, you touched on something else. Do you think that the media shows enough of the good things that police officers do.
I don't think I almost ever see anything good about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen lots of good things, but nothing that outweighs the bad. I mean, almost every week there's probably something bad that's being shown.
Absolutely.
So I definitely think they could help out by not outweighing the good with the bad.
Yeah. What do you think of the use of, because I've got somebody here young in front of me, what do you think of the use of body cameras? Is that a good thing or a bad thing when police officers have body cameras?
I think it's a good thing.
Why do you think that?
It shows the what's actually going on.
Okay, yeah,
So,
being transparent.
Yeah, so, I mean, like we talked about, there's good cops, bad cops. I mean, I could be like just a horrible person, get pulled over by a great cop, but start saying and lying, saying he's doing this, doing that.
Yeah.
And if he didn't have a body camera on, there'd be no way for him to like prove what's actually going on.
That is really interesting.
It gives proof of what's going on. So I think they're good. I think they're definitely helpful.
Taser, what do you think of the taser?
Don't want to get hit by it.
Yeah,
I've been
definitely.
tased before, just goofing off with friends. They don't feel good.
Yeah.
No, I think they're good though. For like,
Okay.
I mean, I've seen them a lot, like on YouTube. Like somebody's running away, being violent. I don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
Or by punching them or something.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, police officers work out, so
Yes.
their punch is going to hurt a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, some police officers work out, a lot do.
So-
and then there's some that
You know,
should,
I think taser, you get hit real quick, it stops you, and then they detain you.
Yeah.
It keeps you from getting hurt worse than what you could.
Absolutely, it's better than the alternative, which
Yeah.
is the handgun.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'd definitely rather catch a taser than a bullet.
Yeah. Wow. Now you live in Mooreville, North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Your interactions with the police department has been overall, it's been good. I mean, when you see police, do they look like they're really handling their business and taking care of business? I mean, this is a shout out to Mooreville too.
Yeah.
So.
So all my police interactions mostly have been down in Alabama. I've only had one interaction with a police officer up in Mooresville.
Okay.
It was actually probably 2 weeks ago. Me and Buddy were just at the bowling alley shooting some pool for fun.
Okay.
Just killing some time one evening. And we noticed there was just one officer there just walking around, just making sure that everything stays, just calm.
Yeah.
And I told my buddy, I was like, he seems just down. Like he wasn't smiling,
Yeah.
but he just seemed like down, like he's bored.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, when we leave, I'm gonna go say hi to him. Just see what's
Okay,
up.
so did you say hi to him?
Yeah, we said hi. My buddy who I was with actually was prior military.
Okay.
And when we were walking up to the officer, he noticed that the officer had the wristbands on that you get for deployments.
Yeah.
And so that was actually the whole conversation. When we walked up to him, was my buddy and him just talking about where they were in the military, where they were deployed, what they did, their MOS, all that.
Young officer or older officer?
He was probably 30s.
Okay.
I mean, he wasn't super young looking, but he wasn't old neither.
Yeah.
He was probably 30s.
Good. Well, let me ask you that. We're about to close with this then. If you could think of what you wanted to tell police officers about what you would like to see them doing in the future out in the public, what would it be? What is your ideal police officer, in your opinion?
Probably someone who's just down to earth and cares about the community.
Okay. Really cares about
Yeah, like
the
actually
community.
cares. I think police departments could do like community outreach.
Yeah.
Like get involved with the community, show them that you're actually here to help them, and not just be a police officer just enforces rules.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, rules are great, but if someone only sees you as someone who enforces rules, they're not really gonna want to hang out or something, or they're not really gonna have the best impression of you.
Yeah.
So I think if they just did more community outreach, like, hey, we're here for you. We're here to help you. We're here to do this, do that. Like actually just
Communicate that better. Yeah.
Just communication, being just down to earth guys. I think that'd help a lot.
All right. Well, hey, Mr. William Harvell, I got it right. Mooreville, North Carolina, but you spend most of your time in Alabama.
Yes, sir.
With a certain friend we have here, we know.
Yes, sir.
Miss Warner.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for adding to this conversation. It's been great meeting you too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I didn't say it, Miss Warner is a student of mine. I can't even tell you the story of how I got to meet Mr. Harvell, but everything worked out. And I want to say thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Harvell. You should be extremely proud of your son. I think he's going to do good things.